Good day, everybody. We're back, and today we're going to do a wheel bearing on the Mazda. We've got it right here. This is the bearing. We're going to press that in, and we've got the hub, just in case. These are a real pain in the ass. These wheel bearings on these '05 Escape, Mazda Tribute, they're all the same. A lot of times what happens is the bearing will separate and you'll get the front half of the race will be stuck on this shaft. And we've got one just in case. Like, you can get them off, use a cut-off wheel or whatever, try and pull it off there, heat it up. But sometimes you can damage this. And just in case, we've got this too. So if we don't need it, we'll take this back and get our money back. But if we do, we have it, just so we don't get stuck. So, having said that, let's get started. And well, don't look at me. Jack the car up. We're going to jack her up, put a jack stand under it, and take the wheel off. And put the jack stand under it. Now we're going to go ahead and break the lug nuts loose using a breaker bar, but since Sarah's not looking, I'm just going to go ahead and sneak the impact on these like that. So don't tell her. Oh, that is so much easier, Levy. Just like NASCAR. And take the tire off. Just give it a smack like that. And lift her off of there. Now go ahead, and while we got the wheel off, we're just going to go ahead and spray some of these bolts with some penetrating fluid. Just make them easier to get out. And just squirt some of these too. Get this guy on the bottom here. Oh. Just let them soak. Yeah. I've been working out. Okay, now we have to remove these plastic caps here, and they're covering the Allen key on the caliper here. And all you do is get your fingernail under the edge there. If you can get in there close there, just show them the edge. You see that? Just get in there. And these just pop them under. There's one right there. There's one there, and there's one there. And then inside here, there's an Allen head.
And the other one? And there's the Allen head inside.
There we go. Break them both loose. Spin those out. Okay, get in there with the bar. Remove the retaining clip. And it just comes out like that. You want to kind of keep your hand over it. Don't let the thing come flying up and hit you in the eyes. Wear safety goggles. Just be careful. Okay, and we're going to start. Pop the caliper off. The caliper bracket, just like that. It'll be a little sticky, but she'll come off. There we go. We're just going to hang him up right on our little hook here, just out of the way. Now we're going to take the caliper bracket off using an 18 mil socket and our breaker bar. Oh, yeah.
There she goes.
Yeah, there she goes. That was on there. These ones could be a little tight, and all the better reason to give a little soak first. There we go. Just like that. And there's the bracket. While we've got this bracket off, this one isn't bad. These brakes were pretty recently done. You can tell by the pads too, they're really thick. Stuff can build up in here, and this is where the brake pads slide along. You don't want them binding and getting stuck and causing them to heat or just act squirrely. So while you've got this off, You want to clean that out a little bit. Use a wire wheel, brass brush, steel brush, and just make sure there's nothing in there like that. Do both sides, right in that groove there. Give it a good little scrubbing like that, and that's all it needs. And we're going to remove the rotor. This one's, like I said, these brakes were pretty recently done. You can tell they're in good shape too. If this is stuck on there, you want to take a hammer, and to break it loose, you want to hit it here, here, and here in between, and try not to hit the studs. If you shred these, that can be bad. But we've got a new hub anyway, so, but that's how you get this off. If it's stuck, just hit it. Don't hit the edge of the rotor. You'll warp it. That's not good. So if you're going to hit it to break it loose, hit it right in between the studs, like top and bottom, across, and that'll help get it loose. This one's already loose, so that makes our lives easier. Now we're going to take the speed sensor out, and that's this little 8mm nut here, or bolt. Oh, there's a little bit of stuff on it. There we go. Yeah, it's 8mm. Make sure you're all the way to the bottom. You don't want to strip this thing. Just like that. And there she is. Oh, I got her stuck in there now. Just get in there with some pliers and grab the sides of it. Don't touch the end of it, and don't bugger up this tone ring on the end of the axle. It's this one with all the, looks like splines in it. That's how it senses the speed of the wheel. Just kind of grab it lightly on the sides with a pair of pliers, needle nose vice grips. Get under it with a bar like that, and just wiggle it a bit. They can be a little sticky in there, so you kind of have to work it back and forth a little bit like that, and it'll start coming a little easier. That might even just come out now. Okay, if not, just keep working it back and forth. You see it's getting looser there. Just a little bit of rust buildup and gunk from the road. Don't force it through the hole, just a little bit at a time. You don't want to try not to destroy this thing. This one's going to come. Oh, there's some stuff falling right there. Just like that. Just keep working it, wiggling a bit. Try to get it out of there without breaking it. We don't want to replace it if we don't have to. Trying to get it underneath it there, just around the bottom edge. You can see there's a speed sensor there, and that's what it looks like from the bottom. Okay. Just try to work some of that loose, get some of the crud off it underneath there. Just go around it. There we go. Just like that. There we go. Didn't hurt it a bit. Oh, baby. There you are. There it is right there. Just give that a little shove, and if it's a little sticky, oh, where did I put it now? Oh. If it's a little sticky, get a bot with a dead blow hammer. Don't use a metal one, or put a block of wood in there even. Just don't bugger up the threads on the axle. We're not replacing that. So just give her a little like that, and it won't hurt it a bit. Now we're going to go ahead and take this castle nut off the tie rod end, and we're going to have to remove this cotter pin first. We're just going to grab that. Oh, you can even get in there if it's flattened out too much. Get in there with a screwdriver and just push it back like that. There we go. Okay, and let's take a pick tool, go in there like that, and start working that thing around. Just kind of get it loose. Like that. Yeah. Cut off, make sure it's rotating. I don't think this one is. Probably have to replace this. A good idea anyway. Oh, there we go. Just kind of spin that around. Could be a little rusty from sitting in there. So, oh, there we go. Right there like that. Should probably replace that either way. Break that nut loose. 19. Well, that was easy. Now, if this does start to spin, then it can. It's a tie rod end. It's the same as a ball joint. It is a ball joint. There's, oh, if I can get this off here. Now it gets hard. Jeez. There should be. Oh, this one don't have it. Sometimes they have a little like 8 mil, 10 mil shaft on the end here, and you can hold that to keep it from spinning and get it with a wrench. But this one came off pretty good, so that's good, and that's probably why it doesn't have one. But now we got to get that out of there. So what we'll do, just reinstall this castle nut, and we're going to back it off just so we don't hit the threads. See, it's just recessed. We don't want to hit the threads and bugger them up on the shaft there. So just put the castle nut back on there and just take a hammer and just break that loose like that. Then we can take it off. Now take our dead blow hammer. It's got a softer face on it. Just pop the rest of the way out of there, just like that. Put that off to the side. Okay, now we're going to get this pinch bolt out on the ball joint at the bottom here. And it's a 16, or what is it, a 15?
It was a 15.
15 on this side, and she's a 13 on the back side, so we're going to use 2 ratchets. We're going to hold it, that one on there like that, and that guy on there like that. Oh!
Ooh.
There she goes. Oh!
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now just give that a spin on the bolt side and kind of free that up a little bit. And now we got it spinning and it's not seized in there anymore. Take your dead blow hammer and just kind of start knocking it through. And that'll protect the threads once again. And now we'll spin that the rest of the way off and push the rest of the way through with a punch. Okay, there's the bolt. Let's see if this will work. Just put that on there. Oh, dead blow. Yeah, she's pretty free. We'll get a punch and push it the rest of the way through. Take a really skinny punch that sits in the center of that bolt once again so we don't hurt the threads. Just give her a little tap with a hammer and there she goes. There's the bolt. Okay, now before we separate this lower ball joint, we're just going to break these loose for now, and I've kind of already went at it here. We forgot to film it, so I kind of got that started, but yeah, you want to get those moving in there. They're still tight, don't worry. Break them loose so we can get them out of there before we separate the ball joint. Just like that. Get them spinning on this side, on the bolt side, and then they'll be moving so you can get them out of here. They won't be stuck in there. Okay, let me just take that nut off there, and she should be, yeah, just like that. Spin them up. Oh, that one's still a little tight. This one's loose as well. Oh yeah, that just come out like a breeze. There you go. Now the knuckle's almost free. We're just gonna put one in there just to hold it, and we're gonna start beating on the bottom here and get that puppy out. Now we're gonna start separating this lower ball joint here. And the best way to do this is get in there with a bar. You can give it a tap with a hammer if you have to. Get in there, spread that a little bit. Let that open. And watch this boot. You do not want to hurt this thing. And there she goes, just like that. Do not tear this rubber boot. Take your time. When you get that close, kind of grab a hammer here. There she goes. She's loose. We'll get the bigger bar here. And these can be a bugger, but if you just get a bar in there and separate it like this, they usually come off pretty easy. Just like that. Okay. And we're just going to slide that axle out of our way now that we can get it out of there. I'm going to pull him off the side, or wherever he's out of our way here. We're going to take a bungee cord, and we're just going to hang him up like that. Just kind of support him like this. There we go. Ta-da! Just like that. Ain't that simple? Okay, let's get that ball joint the rest of the way out. And there's your knuckle. I'm just going to show you guys. This one's, it's going, as I've seen worse, but if you just listen here when I spin it, you can hear the grittiness in the bearing. And that shows us that this one is going, in fact. Okay, this in the center here, this is our hub. And this here, you see that? I'm moving the knuckle, and that is the bearing there. Now we've got to push this shaft of this hub out of this bearing. And there's a C-clip on this side. We can't get to it. We're going to have to separate the bearing, and part of it's still going to be stuck on this hub. And that's why we have a new hub. If we can't get that sucker off of there, we've got a new one. So we should be okay. There's a C-clip in there, and do not forget to put that C-clip in before you press the new hub back on, or you will just have destroyed a new hub and bearing and have to get both over again. So be very aware of that. I'll show you that once we get this sucker out of there. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, with some creative blocking, you want to support the knuckle and let the hub move freely. It just so happens this press, the main shaft is the right size for the center, so this is great. And we're just going to pump that. See that hub coming loose. There she comes, and there she is. Okay, and there's our bearing, what's left of it. I'll take that over here in the light. Okay, there's the old bearing, and like I said, it's going to separate, and it did. There's some of the ball bearings. And there's the race there that's still stuck on the shaft. Now what we can do is try to save this. We could split this with a cutoff wheel or heat it and try and bang it off. There's not a lot to grab underneath, so that's probably not going to work. They're right down here too. But you can do that. But we've got a new one, so we're probably going to go this route right there. And there's the new one. If you look right here, this is that retaining ring I was telling you about there. You've got to get in these little holes here and kind of just try to break it loose, get it started like that. And we've got snap ring pliers, but with these, usually you can just get under them. And you want, once again, you want to watch that sucker don't go flying. Just kind of get under it so you can get it started. Oh, she's coming. She is coming. Under it like that. Just go along. There you go. Start working that out of there. Okay, you can see, and just keep working your way along like that. Just like that, and there. Won't come flying out of there. It looks a little rough, but believe it or not, you could reuse that. I think we've got a new one in the kit, so there you go. And now we got to press this bearing out of the knuckle. And just to make it easier, I'm going to take a screwdriver first, and then a little wire brush after. And we're just going to clean this up a bit so that bearing slides out of there nice and easy. get in there, go around the face of it. Just like that. Okay. See what we've gotten right there. We've got it really clean right where that bearing meets the face and all in here. Use wire brush, and if you want to, you can do what I did and use a wire wheel and go around the inside of that. It'll just make this come out easier and no chance of damage. When we put the new one in, it should go in nice and flat with no crud around it. We might even clean it again once we've got it completely out of there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and, because we can, we got it on the front now, we're going to go ahead and remove that. And all you do, you've got it lined up there, just take it, hold it down on the table, take a bar with an angle on it, get behind it, and just give it a little, and she just slides right off of there. A lot of them don't even have it. You don't really need it. It's just a heat shield, and they're perfectly fine without it if you just want to put it on like this. But getting this out of the way makes it easier to support it when you're pressing it. Okay, now let's go to the press and get the rest of the bearing out. Okay, now we want a spacer to just the size of the outer bearing, but not big enough where it'll get stuck in the hub. And a good stout socket like that. We're going to kind of center it here. Make sure she's right under the press. And there we go. Okay, we might have to get it a little higher. Put some light on that so they can see.
Yeah. You can see it coming out the bottom.
Here comes the bearing. There's our knuckle. There's the fixtures. There's our old bearing. What's left of it. Oh.
Ooh.
That's pretty gritty. That's done.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to go clean that out. Make sure it's really ready for that brand new bearing. And it is. You can see in there. We've got the ridges all gone. There's our new bearing. That's her right there. Now when you press this in, you want to make sure you push on this outer edge only. Do not push on the center or you'll separate the bearing just like the old one did when we pushed it out of there. Let's go to the press. Make sure this sucker's real square. We've got it supported under the bottom. We're going to push this down. Now this will bottom out. You saw the ridge in there. It won't go any further than it has to. It just has to go past that C-clip so we can lock it down. And like I said, do not forget the C-clip. Once you push the shaft in, if you push the hub back out, the bearing will separate again. And you'll need a new bearing and probably a new hub again, unless you want to die grind this one off your new hub. So we're going to get to that right now. Let's just make sure she's square. Okay. And push on the outside edge. This is just slightly smaller than the inside diameter of this hub, but just big enough to catch that outer bearing. We're going to go ahead and press that in now. Just like that. I'm going to use a hand pump now. Every once in a while, check to make sure you're not going too deep. Just pull that out of the way and check for your C-clip. We're almost there. You see, that's almost bottom out. You see where the C-ring goes. We're going to give it one more little shove. Okay, that should be it. And that should be it right there. Let's go put our C-clip in. Okay, use some sandpaper. We're just going to clean that up and reuse it. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't want to destroy it. You just want to knock some of the scale and the rust off it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Flip it over. It's not bad. Perfect. Our C-ring pliers, you want to watch, once again, just don't go flying, so keep your hands on it, and it can't go nowhere. And just drop that right in like that, just like that. Okay, now we're going to take a flathead screwdriver and make sure she's all the way in. Okay, just go around like that, make sure she's all the way in that groove. Just like that. Okay, we've got our C-clip in all nice. Now it's time to install the hub. And when we do it, we have to support the bearing on this inner race here. Otherwise it'll push the center of the shaft out and will destroy the bearing trying to push the hub onto it. So it's very important. We have to find something that size, and that's what we're going to support it on when we press the hub in. Go ahead and reinstall our dust cover now. Just like that. Make sure she bottoms out. I wish there was more to it than that. There just isn't. There we go. Go ahead and press the hub down. And this, you just want to bottom out right to the bottom there. You can see that in there. And that's it. I believe she's all the way there. Okay, and oh, there we have it. We can press it through the back. Nope, we got a good bearing. And there's our shaft. She won't come all the way through, so that's why you can support it here. They're kind of made to do that. And I believe that's bottomed out all the way. Boy, listen to that. No noise at all. And that's what you want.
Here you go, Missy.
Thank you.
Coffee.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Thank you. Bye, sweetie.
Bye.
Okay, we're going to start by sliding it on the axle. Just turn the hub. Should slide right on there. And then placing it back on the pinch bolt. Oh. Right on the ball joint there. Try and get that puppy back in.
Just like that.
Just like that. Just as you shut it off, it slid in there.
Yep, of course.
And remove the bungee cord. Put the pinch bolt back in. And the nut. Okay. There we go. Big dead blow. There's one. There we go. And the nuts. Get them started. Just like that. Tie right in. Castle nut. Speed sensor. Went in easier than it came out, that's for sure. 8mm bolt. Driver. That's all. CV axle nut. Start with the pinch bolt nut for the lower ball joint.
And tighten the lower pinch bolt to 46 foot-pounds. Tighten the tie rod end to 59 foot-pounds. Install the cotter pin in the castle nut.
Get a little love tap there. And bend it over. We're going to put a new one in. We don't have a new one right now. I can put it in after, just to show you how to do it. Bend them over like that, and that's good. Just snug them down for now, and then we'll torque them down when they're both tight.
And tighten those to 85 foot-pounds. Tighten the CV nut to 221 foot-pounds.
Oh, monkey. And reinstall the disc. Okay, now we're going to take a minute. We got to compress the caliper. And while we're in here, we're going to take these sliders out. And we're just going to put a little brake component lubricant on these. Clean them off. While we're in here, take a little bit. Which side is it? Ah, that side. A little bit of that. Put that right on there. Just like that. Slide them right back in there. While we're in here, we just got a chance to service this. We'll make sure it's working good and that caliper doesn't seize up on us. Just a little bit like that. Right in there. Oh. Actually just put them, slide them through, get some in there, and push them back so they're level like that. We can just put the caliper on and they're already in there. Lay those surfaces down with some brake clean. We didn't touch them, but you should do it anyway. And put a little bit lubricant on these ears, just so they keep moving around. Just on the ears, not on the brake surface. Just like that. You don't need a lot, just a little bit, keep it from sticking, and a little bit in there, right on the bracket, once you've cleaned it out, and just a little bit. Like that. Now we're going to compress the caliper, C-clamp. Nope. Where are you going? Okay, get that on there. So you got it nice and square. And don't go too fast, just take it easy. Push it a little bit at a time. Okay.
Reinstall the caliper bracket. Tighten the caliper bracket to 129 foot-pounds.
Oh, easier said than done. Clean off the disc with some brake clean.
And reinstall the brake pads.
Just like that.
And tighten up the caliper. These ones are 18 foot-pounds, but just get them reasonably tight. And reinstall the dust caps. And there's one on the bottom. Reinstall the brake spring. Reinstall the tire.
Okay. Then we'll get a couple of spins of each one.
Jack up the vehicle. And remove the jack stand. And lower it down. And torque it down to 100 foot-pounds
In a star pattern.
in a star pattern.
Well, that's about it for tonight, everybody. Now, we're going to get an alignment. Whenever you tear this much suspension apart, you really should. You kind of have to. But in another episode, we're going to show you how you can do this at home.
Just enough to get you to the garage.
Yeah, just enough to get you to the garage. Get it really in the ballpark anyway. And other than that, we're pretty much done here. We want to thank everybody. We want to thank Jenny and everybody down at CTR in Winnipeg, Manitoba for getting us the parts at a good price and really quick. She got us all the right stuff. Thanks for watching, everyone. We had a lot of fun tonight. We hope you did too. I hope this is helpful to someone.
It's okay to get dirty, girls. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.